Welcome everybody today to our business meeting. Today is December 12th, 2023. It's 7:05 p.m. We're convened as the Provo City School District Board of Education, and today we're meeting at 280 West, 940 North in Provo, Utah. We're going to begin our business meeting this evening with a roll call, and we'll go ahead and start down with Board Member Hall.
Melanie Hall, Board Member.
Gina Hales, Board Member.
Van Wagenen, Board Member.
Wendy Dow, Superintendent.
Rebecca Nielsen, Board President.
Jennifer Partridge, Vice President.
Terry McCabe, Board Member.
Lisa Boyce, Board Member.
Derek Anderson, Business Admin.
Thank you so much. And is there a motion to convene our business meeting this evening?
I move that we convene our business meeting.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Boyce. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'm going to give this one to Board Member Partridge, although it was a pretty close tie. So second by Board Member Partridge. We are now in our business meeting. Tonight we're going to have our opening remarks by Board Member Meg Van Wagenen.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. It's so great to see so many of you tonight. And thanks for being here and being part of the work of our public schools here in Provo. Okay. I still always get so nervous when I have to do this. Okay, over the summer, Superintendent Dow extended an invitation to the school district, teachers, students, parents, and even community members to read the Boys in the Boat book, which I finished a month or so ago, and I was really grateful for the opportunity to read the book. So I thought it'd be fun tonight to read a quote from it, since we have made it to December. Which is equal parts exciting and still exhausting, right? So I don't know if for this book is about, it's the true story of the University of Washington's rowing team and their quest for gold at the 1936 Olympics. So I'm going to just read a quick quote about talking about the art of rowing and the rowing team and the boat. This is what it says. What mattered more than how hard a man rowed was how well everything he did in the boat harmonized with what the other fellows were doing. And a man couldn't harmonize with his crewmates unless he opened his heart to them. He had to care about his crew. I love this idea of care and harmony, that we are all here working in a different capacity for our students, for our children, and part of that work is caring for not only our students, but for each other, each of us in working in this work. And I love the idea of thinking about harmony and how harmony comes not in spite of our differences, but because of them, right? When you harmonize, it's really celebrating difference and working together to use those differences for the greatest impact for our students. Which then makes me reflect as a school board member and also as a parent of kids in our schools, and then as a community member, what is my part in caring for those in our community and my part in working in harmony, and appreciate the opportunity to reflect on that. So let's, I guess, start the meeting.
Okay. Thank you so much for those words of wisdom, Meg. We will now be privileged to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Rhodes Lopez, a Canyon Crest 5th grade student.
Is it on? Yeah. Please stand and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Rhodes, for coming to join us tonight and to lead us in that pledge. I just need to let you guys all know that he came up and introduced himself to me at the beginning of this meeting and told me that he was excited to be here. And so I am so grateful for anyone who's excited to be at our board meetings. So Rhodes, we're glad you're here, and thank you so much for doing that for us. Okay, we're going to move to the Community Connections portion of our meeting tonight. We're going to start with our employee recognition, and we'll give that time to Jason Cox to present our Provo Way Award winners.
Good evening, school board. Thank you again for this opportunity. We have some wonderful people we get to recognize tonight. I'm going to read off their names, and I'd ask that they stand so we can give them a round of applause. We have Stormy Winscott, Madison Fry, Madison High, Malia Siafanua, Kim Gishi. Okay, we've shot our video and we want to give everybody the opportunity to see the video that we've created to recognize these employees. But afterwards, we'd love to give the employees the opportunity to be thanked by each of you individually. So once we're finished with the video, we're going to ask you to come up here and allow them to thank you personally. So we'll go to that point.
We love you so much for me. You've only been here a couple of years, but you've made such a difference in our music program at this school. The kids are excited to be here. They love being around you. Just seeing how many kids have joined choir this year is incredible and just a testament to how great you are. And we love you so much.
I nominated Malia because she is a great leader at Timpanogos, and I'm new here, but she's just really good at making people feel welcome and just being a really good leader for our team. And so Gen Ed teachers love working with her, our SPED team loves working with her, and so it's just been, I've been really impressed. I've worked at a lot of schools, and this has been a really good team to work with.
I just want to say that Kim has been a wonderful success coach. She not only cares about the kiddos and developing relationships with them, but she also takes care of all us teachers as well. She does scavenger hunts and cereal breaks and all kinds of fun things, and we're just so lucky to have her. Thank you, Kim.
The atmosphere is super awesome. Every time I'm the PE teacher, and her students would always just come and brag to me about how awesome she was. And they're all Taylor Swift fans, and she doesn't even like Taylor Swift. So I think that's really saying something. They really love her for her, but she's seriously super awesome. It's a really unique 5th grade class with lots of different perspectives, and she's just the perfect fit for them. So that's why I nominated her.
I mean, this was the easiest nomination they could have ever done. I mean, Megan is phenomenal with the students. She's exceptional at her job, right? She works hard. She runs around the entire school more than the kids do, right? I mean, it was the easiest thing I could ever suggest or thought of. So Megan definitely deserves everything and all the praises in the world.
Personally for your work, and so and be careful, there is a cord right here in front of me, but those of you that were not recognized, please come on up. Thank you.
Let's go ahead and give one more round of applause for our award winners. We will now be privileged to hear a school report from Principal Sean Edwards of Canyon Crest Elementary School. But before he begins, I would just like to make a quick announcement that following the school report, we'll be having our public input portion of the meeting where anyone is welcome to give input to the board. If you do want to give input today, there's a form over here on this little desk on my right, your left. You would need to fill out that form completely and give it to our secretary, Bonnie Totkus, and then she'll make sure we get that form, and then we'll be able to call you up to give that input. But in the meantime, we're ready to hear from Principal Edwards.
Good evening, Board of Education. So excited for this opportunity to speak with you for a few minutes this evening. I first and foremost want to express my gratitude to each of you. The fact that principals are empowered to come to a board meeting and share the challenges, the opportunities, and the successes that are happening in schools is a testament to how deeply and authentically each of you care for what's happening in our schools. So thank you for your time this evening. I just want to first go into our learning intention for my short presentation that I have prepared for you, and that is that I can learn more about Canyon Crest Elementary School, including their challenges and successes. So with that, our agenda as we move forward, I would like to share with you some of our demographic information that we have at this school. Following that, I'll show you some student assessment data, and then we'll go into challenges and opportunities and points of pride, after which I would love to hear any questions that you might have for me. So as far as our demographics, I have charted here the past few years of student enrollment at Canyon Crest Elementary, so you can see the trajectory of the enrollment at Canyon Crest. You can see in 2020 to 2021, just kind of following that COVID year, we had around 379 students at the October 1st count, and you may be aware when the pandemic was happening, there was quite a few students who left to go to private schools at that time, and I'm proud to say over the course of the past few years, we have been able to increase the enrollment, bring back a lot of the students who left. And so now, as of October 1st, our enrollment was sitting at around 492, almost 500 students, which is very, very exciting. I want to point out that you'll see there at the bottom of that bar graph for this school year, 16% of our student body are kindergarten students. We have over 70 kindergarten students, one of our largest kindergarten cohorts, which is super exciting going into our first year for full-day kindergarten across the school. So that's been really exciting. I've also have a chart here to show our student race and ethnicity at Canyon Crest Elementary. The bottom bar graph there is representative of this school year, so you can kind of see that. None of the anything below 6% is not labeled with a number, so you'll notice that on the graph as well. Here are our percentage of students that are economically disadvantaged. Generally across the years, we sit at around that 20%. The percentage of students who are multilingual learners, this is an interesting metric to notice. You'll see that our percentage of multilingual learners has actually decreased by a little bit over the course of the past few years. Right now, 3% of our students are multilingual learners. And here are our percentage of students with a disability. You'll notice that last school year, it says 9%. It was at 9% at the October 1st count. When I first got to Canyon Crest last school year, it was actually sitting more at around 7%. And knowing our middle school and high school that we feed into, I really knew that there are more students at Canyon Crest who have unique learning needs that were not going addressed. And so from the very get-go, my team, my general education teachers, my special education team worked so diligently and hard with our RTI efforts, MTSS, to really identify students who have these unique learning needs. And I'm proud to say that this year, as of October 1st, we're at 10%, really helping to close that gap in increasing our special ed prevalence at the school. I also wanted to show you our percentage of students in dual language immersion across the grade band there. So you can see from left to right, 1st through 6th grade. The yellow are representative of our non-DLI students, and that darker blue color are the percentage of students in DLI. I also wanted to show you a breakdown of our instructional faculty and staff demographics. You can see that K through 6, we have 3 teachers per grade level. 1st through 6th, to run a minimum DLI program, we need to have at least 3 teachers per grade. So 1 for the non-DLI class, 1 DLI Spanish teacher, 1 DLI English teacher. We have 1.5 special education teachers, 1 music teacher, 1 full-time social worker, which we're very grateful for. And then you can see the handful of aides and interventionists and specialty instructors, 504 aides, special education aides that we have at the school as well. I want to show you some student assessment data. You can see here our Acadience reading scores overall for at or above level. And you can see on the far left, that's our 2022-23, so last school year, BOY assessment outcomes. The middle score there are our end of year outcomes for that school year, so you can see the growth from 79% to 88%, and then where we're at currently with our BOY assessment outcomes for Acadience reading at 80%. I also broke down the Acadience reading scores by grade level for at and above, so you can see how it's broken down for kindergarten on the left all the way through 6th grade on the right. I also have our into math scores for our school at or above level. You can see BOY last school year, we started at 56%. We ended the year at 90%, which is a huge success we're proud of. This year, we started at 53%, and we're excited to see that growth by the end of the year. Here's the into math scores for K through 6. I also took a screenshot here of our RISE scores, and this came from the school report card that was just published. You can see for our ELA, we are at 63.3% overall for the school, for math, 65%, and science, 65.7%, all increases from the previous year. And then I also broke it down by grade, so you can see what that looks like for 3 through 6. This is ELA. 3 through 6 for math. And then 4 through 6 for science. I'd like to share at this time some challenges and opportunities that we have at Canyon Crest. I always like to couple opportunities with challenges because I like to see that, you know, if we're kind of hitting our head against some things, there's always an opportunity there to elevate what we're doing. So the first thing that I have is our school's mission and vision. When I first got to Canyon Crest, I went through the school year. It was an observational year for me. I wanted to see how well embedded the school's mission and vision was into the school culture. And what I found was that it wasn't embedded into the school culture. I noticed that parents, students, teachers, faculty, staff didn't really know too much about the mission and vision. There were some things that they could, you know, spout off, but generally it wasn't really living within the school. I also noticed that we have different mission statements in the school building that are posted that are different from what's posted online. So, you know, I'm thinking, okay, now is a great opportunity to redesign, reevaluate, rethink our school's mission and vision, because truly this should be our guidepost for everything that we do in the school. So recently, we had a workshop with our school leadership team where we identified our core values. From there, I shared those core values. I got a parent focus group together. We had great conversations about what the parents also feel like they value, and we came up with some ideas for what those statements for mission and vision could look like. And that's where we're at right now. My next steps, I want to get a student focus group together. As one of our most important stakeholders, our students, I feel it's so important to get them involved in the creation of and redesigning of our mission and vision. And then I'd love to get it in front of Superintendent Dow because I want to make sure that everything that we're doing is supportive of our district's mission and vision and aim. We also, our PBIS framework, we call this at Canyon Crest ROAR. It stands for Respect, Ownership, Attitude, and Responsibility. These are our behavior values. And last year, we noticed through the data that we collected through the Educator Handbook platform that there were patterns of unsafe and threatening language that were often or sometimes being used by students, physical aggression in younger grades, and general disruptive behavior. And so this provided us with the opportunity to really scale up in this area, to provide that explicit PBIS instruction. So this year, we have started weekly ROAR behavior lessons. So we teach students lessons on how to behave in the bathroom, how to behave on the bus, how to transition between class time and specialties and a recess and how to behave in the lunchroom. And we have seen that this has been impactful for our student body. We are also working on getting our ROAR framework posted throughout the building. So making sure that the messaging is very visible throughout the school so that students are reminded of ROAR behavior everywhere they go. And you can see here, this is a picture of our ROAR December Students of the Month. So this is like hot off the press. We were excited to provide them with some recognition this past Friday. And here is what our ROAR framework is looking like. We haven't published this out to our community or within our school yet. It's still in draft form, but hopefully gives you an idea of how we're communicating our ROAR expectations to our students. And then also another challenge and opportunity has been our PLC work. I noticed last school year as I popped into PLC meetings, there were really good conversations happening in the grade level teams. They were talking about instructional pacing, student behaviors, and business items, all good things. And I felt like this was also an opportunity to move to the next step in the PLC process. So this school year, we've worked with our school leadership team to roll out a PLC protocol to guide the PLC process on what an effective PLC looks like, what those discussions should be look like in the PLC. So here's what that PLC looks like, and shout out to Lakeview. I got this template from Jamie over there, who's the principal. I've reworded it, I've changed things to make it our own, to fit our needs. But you can see here, there's opportunity for that upcoming curriculum planning, and then teacher teams have options. They can develop a common formative assessment. They can review data from a common formative assessment. And they can discuss what Tier 1 instruction might look like that upcoming week. There's also an opportunity to plan out interventions. Where will student groups be going? What is the skill set that they'll be working on for this upcoming week? And then also an opportunity to review behavior data, and then those business items come last in the meeting. Points of pride at Canyon Crest, we have so many. I'll try to, be concise about them, but I'm excited to share that our 22-23 school improvement plan goals, you can see them here. Again, this was last school year. We exceeded our literacy and math goals as a school, which we're so excited about. For literacy, we were hoping for at least a 5% increase of students on level and above, and we were at 9% increase by the end of the school year. And for math, we were hoping for at least 82% of students on level or above, and by the end of the school year, we were at 85%. I would be remiss if I didn't show you our current school improvement plan goals. So here they are. You can see them here. For both math and literacy, at least 85% of students on level or above by the end of the school year. And our PBIS goal, 90% of students showing understanding of what ROAR stands for and what that ROAR behavior looks like in the school. We're also proud of our outcomes for multilingual learners. Last school year, you'll see here that our adequate progress for multilingual learners was at 36% and the proficiency at 20%. So we worked really hard as a school to really have discussions about how we can improve in these metrics. We knew that our multilingual learners at Canyon Crest were struggling, and we needed to do something to support them. So this is last school year's data here. You can see that the adequate progress jumped up to 56.3% and proficiency at 43.8%, which we're so excited about, we're so proud of. And that's because we did professional development. We taught teachers about the can-do indicators. We did data dives with PLC teams. We also created a very supportive testing environment for our multilingual learners, and I think that is what helped to make the difference. And then also STEM at Canyon Crest, flourishing, doing fantastic. We're a STEM Platinum designated school recognized by the STEM Action Center of Utah. And so with STEM happening in our schools, every year we have a community building STEM night. We have weekly school-wide STEM hour. We have improved STEM fair participation this school year. On January 26th, we have our STEM fair, and we're super excited because we've asked all 4th through 6th graders to present and be a part of our STEM fair. And we also have a STEM professional development focus that we're sharing with our teachers, and we do monthly STEM PD with our teachers. You can see here in the pictures, I took these recently from our weekly school-wide STEM hour. This is 1st grade. They're coding these Ozobots in 1st grade, which is so cool. I love it. This is 6th grade. I popped in and they were doing research on various STEM pioneers across history. And then they were going to present to their classes on what they discovered. And this is 4th grade. One Friday, they invited a guest presenter to come in and show different STEM experiments to the class that were super engaging. And then the bottom right corner, that is 4th grade using the Scratch coding platform for STEM. Here are some pictures from last year's STEM community night. Every single classroom was filled with a STEM presenter, and students could come and go in and out of classrooms learning about different STEM-related things. You'll see here, one of my favorite pictures is our space lab at the top there. It was filled all night long with students and parents engaging in space lab missions together. And that concludes my presentation to you about all the wonderful things happening at Canyon Crest. I'd love to know if you have any questions for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Sean. We'll go ahead. Melanie, was that you?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, congratulations on your math increase. Like, I'm just curious, you know, how do you go from 53 to 90? Like, those were some amazing jumps. So just curious what you guys are doing.
Yeah, no, we're super excited about our math scores. It's actually pretty typical as far as our into math assessment goes to have a big jump, because that beginning of year assessment that they take, it's a baseline measure. They're being tested on concepts they haven't learned at all yet. So by the end of the year, now they've learned it and they've made those increases. I would also say that the success goes to our math intervention team as well. We have a math interventionist who works with students who are working on very fundamental math skills, and lots of that math fluency practice happens there to build that automaticity for math. And then we also have a platform that we've purchased called IXL, which is able to meet students where their math level is at, and they can kind of work independently for some time to make gains in math at their own personal level. So I think those are some of the things that have contributed to our increase in those math scores.
I've got a quick question. No one
Yeah.
else is raising their hand,
Thank
so I'll
you.
take the floor.
Please.
First, I just want to say bravo on your ICANN statement. That was great. I loved that
Yay.
at the beginning. That was like such a good demonstration of what we want to see in our classrooms. So
Perfect.
thank you. And then my one quick question is, can you tell me what the difference is between a DLI Spanish versus a DLI English class? So I was under the impression that we just have a DLI Spanish program there. So you caught my attention with that, and I don't know what the difference is, but maybe you can help me.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking that question. So in the DLI structure, the students spend half the day in English and half the day in Spanish. So when I reference DLI English, it's just the half-day English portion. So that teacher teaches English all day, but splits the students halfway through the day.
Okay, that makes more sense. Just out of curiosity, for logistical reason, do the teachers move classrooms? Do the kids move classrooms? Like, how does that work?
Great question. The students move classrooms.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is it Spanish? You guys are DLI Spanish?
Correct.
Is that correct? Do you have very many English, and I kind of saw the stats, but how many would you say English language learners, or whatever we call them now, multi-language learners, how many of those, do you have very many of those, I guess is my question.
We, compared to other Provo City School District schools, we don't have as many multilingual learners in the school. We have about 15 total across the school, many of which are participating in the DLI system.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer?
Okay, first of all, I just love your energy and enthusiasm, and I just want to come to your school and just soak it all in, all the good things you guys are doing, so thank you. With DLI, I know in some schools there can be concerns about, the English students, the Spanish students, and not feeling like you're all one school. So what do you guys do at Canyon Crest to address that?
Yeah, thank you for asking that, because I've heard remarks even from parents at Canyon Crest that in the past it felt like a very divided school, that there was the non-DLI students and the DLI students, and it almost felt like the haves and the have-nots. And as a school, we've worked really hard to disrupt that thinking. And so some of the things that we've done, for example, are that for specialty classes, instead of having students be in their separate silos, we've combined those students. So students who are in the DLI program and students who are in the non-DLI program are mixed together for those specialty classes. And so that's really helped to make sure that we're building that inclusivity across the school. Thank you. Lisa?
Well, first just, hi, Sean.
Hi.
I'm such a Sean fan.
Oh my goodness.
I just loved all of this. I on your rubric under Roar, I just wanted to know what all those letters meant in the top left corner. It was like FSH. I was trying to make a word, but then you went on.
I love it.
Will you tell me what they are?
Was it Kafudi?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, so
I didn't even get any letters right.
Yeah, Kafudi, we've been teaching our students why Kafudi is so important. And Kafudi stands for keep hands, feet, and all other objects to yourself.
Oh my gosh, I need that in my preschool.
Implement that into our strategic plan.
Knowing
Please do. Kafudi, it's wonderful. And like our 6th grade students made a dance to it and went around to all the classes and presented the Kafudi dance.
I love
and
it.
And so it's pretty fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Funny. Okay, any further questions?
I just have one more.
For comments.
How was your experience on Survivor?
Wonderful question. I loved it. It was fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Sean. We appreciate you so much being here. Congratulations on all the wonderful things that are happening at your school. Will you please take a message back to your faculty and your staff and tell them we're so grateful for them and for everything they're doing, and we just are so grateful to have all of them here in our district working with our kids. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I certainly will. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Okay, it's time for public input now. There is still time to get forms in if you are interested in speaking with or giving input to the board. But for now, we have a couple of forms. So we'll first hear tonight from Kirsten Nielsen. And Kirsten, as you're coming up, let me just remind those who are speaking to the board tonight, we'd love for you to state your name and the elementary school area you reside in. And then we'll give you 3 minutes to speak. And there is a timer that'll be up on the board so you can monitor your time.
My name is Kirsten Nielsen, and I am in the Rock Canyon area. I actually have 4 boys who go to 3 different schools. We've been to a total of 4 different schools because I have a high schooler. And I just want to start by saying that we have had incredible experiences at all of our schools. The administrators and teachers are just phenomenal in our district, and I have loved every single one of my children's teachers, and that goes for the junior high and the middle school and high school too. They're just fantastic. I do have a concern though. In May, my oldest came home from his last day of 8th grade with the N-word written multiple times in his yearbook. as it was after the end of the school year, and even after his time at his middle school, I didn't know who to report this to. But obviously I am sickened that words like this are being used in our schools. I would love to see a district-wide reporting system that is easily accessed by both parents and students, so that issues like this can be tracked and addressed. I believe that the tracking aspect is really important. I have two friends who are parents in different school districts whose children have also experienced racial bullying in their schools. When they took their concerns to administrators, they were told that other children haven't had any issues with racism, implying perhaps that their children were the problem. Again, this happened in other districts. I have confidence that my children's principals would have a much more appropriate response. But when racial bullying isn't tracked, it can be easily dismissed in this way. It needs to be tracked so that it can be understood and properly addressed. I also believe that we need to have anti-bias curriculum in our schools. Obviously, in an ideal world, values like this would be taught at home. But I think that many parents simply don't know where to start in having conversations like this with their kids. I think it's probably a lot more scary to some parents than the birds and the bees talks, which we know is scary enough as parents. So they're just not happening. And I don't think it's fair for teachers to be left to deal with these issues, to deal with teaching these issues on their own without support or training. So those are my asks. A district-wide system for reporting racial bullying and grade-appropriate anti-bias training. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. We appreciate you being here tonight. Next, we will hear from Dory Kim.
Good evening. Thank you for making the time and space for us to give our public comment tonight. My name is Dory Kim. For those of you that don't know me, I have 3 children in the district, all in elementary school still. And I care deeply about our marginalized students and their experiences in school. I did teach school for just a short amount of time, but I was grateful to teach in the school that I was able to teach in. It was a very diverse school. I first want to thank you for your transparency and your accountability with the recent investigation of racial bullying in our district. I know that that's probably difficult to have to admit that there are some shortcomings, but I appreciate the plan that has been set forth to improve in those areas. In the work that I do, we hear a lot about racial bullying with kids across the state. We hear it a lot happening to our Black students. And like what was mentioned before, the N-word and other racial gestures and slurs that are being used in the schools. I really hope that as we look at the policies for bullying, harassment, and discrimination, that we make a definition for racial bullying because it is such a widespread problem. I know that it is a statewide problem and that our district is no different from any other district in the state. And I ask that as you continue to work out this policy, that you think of the students that are affected by it the most, that you seek input from, which I feel like you have, continue to seek input from those families who are affected the most. And I know that having a strong policy will make our schools more inclusive and more safe for our students, which will result in better learning and better learning outcomes and better students and community members. So my ask for you is to, as you look at this policy, to seek BIPOC feedback, and that you also have a really good tracking system so that families know what's going on, where it is in the process. I think as people of color, we tend to be used to having our problems dismissed. So if we have a tracking system, that would be a really easy way and accessible way for parents to be able to say, like, oh, they're taking care of this issue, this is just where they are in the process. But I want to thank you, end by thanking you for all of your work and your consideration in this and prioritizing this as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dory, for coming to give us input tonight. We appreciate it. All right. We have no more forms, so we'll go ahead and end the public input portion of our meeting, and we'll move on to our business items. Today we have 7 business items to take care of. So our first one tonight is a consideration to approve policy 4020, curricular materials. And we will hear from Judy Rose about that.
Good evening. As was discussed in study session, policy 4020 is being updated to reflect the most recent Utah code. There are also some edits related to clarity and some title adjustments to better reflect current personnel positions.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve policy 4020?
I move that we approve policy 4020 with the change discussed in study session.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Partridge. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Boyce. Any further discussion or comments started by Board Member Partridge, if there's any?
Just a reminder that we discussed to add in teachers at the beginning of who's helping with the input.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote then. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. And we'll move on to now to our item number 2, a recommendation to approve policy 4040 on professional development, and we'll have Judy also summarize that one as well. Thank you.
As was discussed in study session, policy 4040 is being updated. There are minor changes to the document to more accurately reflect negotiated contracts, and there are also some title and personnel title changes in the policy.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve policy 4040, professional development, as discussed in study session.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Hales. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Van Wagenen. Any further comments? Started with Board Member Hales, if there's any.
I don't believe we had any adjustments to that one, correct?
I don't think so. Okay, then we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Great, motion passes unanimously. All right, we will move on to item number 3 of our business items tonight. Consideration to approve policy 3330, which is our inclusive learning environments policy. So since we've talked about tabling this, I believe we need an official motion to table it. So we'll go ahead with that. Is there a motion in regards to this policy?
I move that we table approving policy 3330, inclusive learning environments, until further discussion both at our policy committee meeting, and then we bring back a final draft to the board and to the public to see one more time.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, motion made by Board Member Boyce. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Hales. Any further comments, starting with Board Member Boyce, if there's any? Hall. What did I say?
Hales.
Sorry. You guys Hall, Hales.
Like a combo.
Melanie Hall is the second on that one. I apologize for that. Any further comments, starting with Board Member Boyce, if there's any?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone who's taken time to be thoughtful, and this is a really important policy to make sure that we get right, so that it supports what we want to have happen, which is that every student comes to school and feels able to raise their hand, ask a question, make a comment, participate and learn, and that we do that in respectful ways of one another. And so I'm grateful that we're going to take the time required.
Thank you so much. Any other comments? Okay, so we'll vote on that one. We need to vote on that motion, right?
Yes.
To table it? Okay, so we'll vote on that motion to table. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that item is tabled until our January 9th board meeting. Okay. All right, item number 4, consideration to approve the tax increment financing policy 6030. Derek, if you'll summarize that, thank you.
Yep. So what you have before you is a new policy. This is the tax increment guidelines on when we are to have outside entities bring forth an RDA for the board to consider. These would be the guidelines that we consider in an analysis that is performed to determine whether or not it is in the best interest of the district and the taxpayers to enter into this RDA. It takes into multiple considerations whether, it brings in a lot of value to the community in terms of jobs, economic growth, and things like that. And because of that, that is why we enter into an RDA.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve policy 6030 tax increment financing as discussed in study session.
Okay, thank you so much. This time the motion really was made by Board Member Hales. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Partridge. Any further discussion, starting with Board Member Hales, if there's any?
I just want to thank Derek and his team and Finance Committee for the work they've done on this. I feel much more comfortable when I will feel much more comfortable when we have proposals come before us, just some guidelines. So I appreciate the work that you guys have done.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed with nay? The motion passes unanimously. Item number 5, consideration to approve calendar A for the 2025-26 school year. We'll have Jason Cox address that.
Good evening, school board. This fall, we've run a process that is pretty familiar to the community, where we send out a survey in the end of October asking the community to give us their priorities for how they'd like us to build the calendar for the coming school years. And after getting that result, we put together 2 options for the community to then review and recommend to us. And so the calendar that was chosen the most out of those 2 options was calendar A. And so we're recommending that we adopt calendar A for 25-26.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve calendar A for the 2025-26 school year, as discussed in study session.
Thank you so much. This time the motion was made by Board Member Hall officially. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Boyce. Any further discussion, starting with Board Member Hall, if there's any?
None.
I have a question for Jason. So I know in some past years we've approved a calendar, but then we've just said it's a tentative thing until a certain time. So can you clarify that for this calendar?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So it is a tentative approval because it's so far out, and each year we do negotiations with our employee groups, and at times we negotiate different days in the calendar year to say we're not going to have that as a work day, and it may change the calendar based on that. So this is a tentative approval for the future. Our negotiations end each year in May so that we can be prepared for the next school year, and that's when the next school year may possibly change right around that time frame. We usually come back to you with a proposal in June for any updates to the calendar if needed. But that's why we've tried to call it tentative approval, because there are possibilities that it will change in the future.
And do we know, because what I'm hearing you say is it would be a day here, a day there, but generally start and end. Do we know, are we aligned with our neighboring districts on fall and spring break? Like, what's the likelihood that might change?
Not a very big likelihood. So we work with the K-16 Alliance on calendaring. So we meet with them every year in October, and we review the coming school year, and if anybody has proposals for the following school year after that. We always try to align for sure our spring break, and we work on the fall break, but not all of us. Most of us are really close, but not all of us are exactly the same on the fall break. But we work together to try to align those, because we have employees that work in each other's districts, and they want to be able to be home with their kids during the times that there is no school.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote then. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? All right, motion passes unanimously. Item number 6, consideration to approve a large purchase request for the Centennial Middle School auditorium sound system. And Derek, if you wouldn't mind summarizing that?
Yeah, so what you have before you is a large purchase request. We're looking at redoing the auditorium lighting and sound system in Centennial, and this is, I believe, one of the original, or some of the original components of when this school was built. And so what this is doing is just kind of improving it and bringing it up to, what current standards are, because as lighting ages, it becomes less bright or dim. So it's going to make it to where, it's brighter when it's on a full system, but also be able to, use it better for when there's plays and things like that. And then the sound system is going through another upgrade to make it to where it doesn't cut out and you can hear it better and things like that during the plays and performances.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the large purchase request in the amount of $226,016.03 for the sound system in the auditorium at Centennial Middle School.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Boyce. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Hales. Any further discussion, starting with Board Member Boyce, if there's any?
I just want to thank the audio visual, all the people who are making these decisions. I know I made a comment in the study session that sounded like I didn't think they knew what they were doing, and I retract that comment. I didn't mean it that way. I'm grateful for the people who are doing this work, and I'm very supportive.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? All right, that motion passes unanimously. And our final item tonight, business item, is the approval of the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the items on the consent calendar.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Hales. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Board Member Van Wagenen. Any further discussion, starting with Board Member Hales, if there's any?
Nope.
No? Anyone else? Great, we'll go ahead and vote on this one as well. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? All right, that motion passes unanimously. We will now be privileged to hear from our two student board members to give their monthly board meeting report.
Okay. Max, you want to go first?
I'd love to. Recently, we had our DSC, District Student Council meeting at Provo High School. We discussed things such as electric busing and stuff including our position and things how we can improve that. And Will, if you want to maybe build on that a little more.
Yeah. I believe it was Wendy and Gina both brought up kind of the continuity of the student member position and the district student council and what our plan is going to be for the next year, especially since this is our first year. We want to see how things have been working, whether or not we want to make some changes. One change that we brought up specifically was allowing student members to essentially make a vote for the record, but wouldn't actually affect the vote, the outcome, but it would just be recorded on the minutes. And in California, they have a similar system where student members state their preference on the issue. So that's something that we could think about. Also, formalizing the district student council, and just some changes, and I believe we'll be working with Gina on that, and hopefully we'll have a pretty good system for next year when we're both gone. But yeah, we talked about electric busing. We did also talk about senior quotes, which we've been told is a very firm no-go.
As sad as it can be. Yeah,
and we also talked about a bit about the inclusion policy. And in the future, we'll try to make sure that upcoming policies are always being talked about at the DSC. So we'll make sure that the new e-transportation policy is considered at the DSC, so we can get some student input on that. And the next meeting will be January 10th.
That will be at the new Timpview High School.
It will be at the new Timpview High School.
Woohoo! Ew. Timpview High School. Sounds good. All right, thank you so much. Oh, go ahead.
Any questions for us?
That's what I was just going to say. Does anyone have any questions for our student board members?
What's been your favorite thing about being student board members so far?
I like the feeling of being like official. I'm going to be really honest. Like, it's fun just to like, be here and just to like have a voice, especially.
I've really enjoyed being on the legislative committee, and I'm actually really excited for that meeting to start going weekly in January, February, and March, just because I really like hearing not just like from news headlines and stuff, but being able to hear a different perspective on what's happening in the legislative session, especially since these issues are really important for students. And so it's just good to be able to know what's really going on.
January and February are going to get pretty intense. Buckle up for that. That's going to be fun. All right, anyone else? Okay, thank you so much to the two of you. We appreciate
I
your
was just going to say
participation.
really quickly.
Oh, sorry, did I miss that? Sorry, I take back my thank yous. I'm not ready to give that
This time
yet.
I didn't
so hold
raise
on.
my hand high enough.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say thank you to you both for being willing to kind of be the first. And like we talked about in the student council meeting, yeah, that there's still things to iron out, but your willingness to kind of help us along the way.
Thanks. Thank you.
And now I'll thank you for your participation. Okay, thanks, guys. All right, we're ready to hear from our business administrator now, Derek Anderson, for his report.
Just a couple things and about mainly construction is the Temp U classes started this week, so we are officially in the academic wing. And then Wasatch and Shoreline are still coming along nicely and are going along according to schedule.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And now it's time for our board member roundtable. We have had a little bit of a discussion about changing the format here, but since we haven't finalized what the change may be, we're going to go ahead and stick with our regular format, I think, for tonight until we decide how we want to change this. So we'll just go ahead and go down the line with committee reports. And you're welcome to report or not report, whatever you
I don't have anything to report right now.
Gina?
I guess I'll do legislative committee. We have been kind of gearing up for the legislative session that will begin in January and end at the beginning of March. We have met with every legislator who has any constituents in our area who will meet with us or has time to meet with us. One of the emphasis that we've been doing, and I appreciate Jennifer has been really good with this, and that's inviting them to the schools. I was at one recently where we went to Rock Canyon Elementary, and I think today there was another one at
Spring Creek today, and we've been at Provost as well recently.
And I know we've done one before for Dixon, and so anyway, we want to get on the same page with our legislators instead of having this kind of a butting heads relationship. We would really like to work with them and help them to see the concerns that we have, and then also listen to the concerns that they have so we can work together. And that's really the way that I think effective government works, is when we're actually listening to each other. And so we're really trying here in the district to make that happen, and Jennifer really has spearheaded a lot of that, so appreciate that. And unlike Will, I'm not looking forward to it every week, but it's intense, and it's good, so I think it'll be good.
Okay, thank you. Any reports, Meg? Nope. Okay, I have no reports this evening either. Jennifer?
Okay, I have a report for the Utah School Boards Association. We had our board of directors meeting on Friday, and I haven't had the chance to sit down and write an email yet, so I'll just tell you all right now some of the things we discussed as an association. So first, Brittany Cummins from Governor Cox's, she's his senior education advisor. She came and spoke to us about some of the things that they're looking at. An audit a few years ago said that we need more role clarity between the Utah's Board of Education, the legislature, and then the local education agencies. And so they're looking into how to better define that. And they have a couple legislators who are working to write that code, and they only want to run that bill if education feels like that is in alignment with what we feel is good. Also, they're looking at separating the Office of Education, which is under the superintendent, a little bit from the elected Board of Education. Right now, the elected board has a lot of decisions that maybe aren't really their role, that should be left more to, just like in our districts, how we set policy and let our superintendent run everything, and then we have check-ins with our superintendent. So they're looking at pulling some things back like that. And then, let's see. They are working as an association to hire an intern to help Lexi Cunningham with the work she does during the legislative session, to help us interact with our legislators and also to be able to communicate to our association. And they're recommending that we hire a position that will help us as an association better tell our story, help get the message out to our members and also to others, both about legislative things and other roles that we have as an association. Someone who would have an education foundation, marketing skills, understand how the legislature works and things like that. In order to be able to do that, it's going to cost money, and right now our budget is so tight we don't have any room for anything. So that would take an increase of dues. And so that is a conversation we're going to be having as an association with input from all board members. So I would love to get your input. You're welcome to talk to me, email me, just how you feel about that. They're going to come back to us in January with some more specifics of what percentage of dues change that would look like. But do we feel it's worth paying more dues for a position like that to help us? So if we were to increase dues, it would be approved at the April Board of Directors meeting, and then it would take effect. We start a new year of dues July 1st. Day on the Hill is coming up in February. They're going to have 2 dates, and I don't know which date they've assigned to our district yet, so I can let you know. But just like last year, we'll schedule with our legislators, and the main point will be to meet with them and discuss with them. And we will have our next meeting at the beginning of our annual conference on January 4th. The board of directors and then the JLC will meet. JLC is open to any board members who want to come. You don't have to be a voting member to attend. So if you want to come to the one on January 4th or any other time, we'll be meeting every Friday during the legislative session. Just let me know. I can make sure you have the details. You're welcome to be there. You're welcome to participate in the discussion. You just have to be an official member to vote, but you can sit right by people who are and help us know how to vote. So any questions for me about any of that?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much for serving on Board of Directors in the JLC, Jennifer. I know that's a big time commitment, so thank you so much. Okay, Terry.
I'm only going to report on Safety Committee. The Utah County Health Department recently updated their communicable disease procedure, which is our policy 3413. It probably won't go through policy committee because only our procedure will need to be updated. And the safety committee is also keeping track of all the proposed changes to HB 61 from the School Security Task Force. One of those changes will be changing Jason Garrison's job title to School Safety and Security Director. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you so much. And Lisa.
Okay, I just want to put in a big plug that board members and anyone listening show up on December 18th at 6 p.m. at the New Skin Ballroom to see the Provo Caps showcase. If you haven't gone to this, I don't care how old your students are, as a parent you should go and get the vision for the Provo Caps program. And it's so inspiring to see these kids in there and what they've created and to hear them articulate the process of meeting with their client and developing a product and prototyping that product to get it closer to what the expectations were, and you get to go and see just these cool, innovative things that our students are doing and learning that benefit us directly within this community. They work for businesses here in the community and for clients here in the community with real projects that get implemented. So that is coming up next week. So I know it's a busy season, but it's so fun to stop in. So if you get a chance, I strongly recommend that. Also, just a heads up, thank you to people who give us feedback on policy. We really do want that. There's a reason we have a process in place right now where we have first readings, we wait, we gather input, we have second readings, and if we're not ready, we wait. So thank you for participating in that process with us so that we can share that role of writing and adopting policies with the people that the policies are meant to support.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And I'll second that shout out to the CAPS showcase on the 18th. It's a really, really, really great event. Jennifer?
Can I just add, that's my anniversary, and I told my husband about it. And we've had kids in the past who were students in the program, but we don't have anybody in it right now. And he's like, well, of course we're going to go. Like,
so good.
That's how we're spending our anniversary.
They feed
He's
you.
so excited.
It's good.
How romantic. That's incredible. Thank you. Okay. All right, we're ready now to hear from Superintendent Dow for our superintendent's report.
Okay, so as far as travel goes, we just have some wrestling divisionals for high school that I approved. Those were in-state, and then we also have Timpview baseball going to a winter camp, and that's also been approved because that's in-state. So that's all we have in terms of updates on student travel. And then just some highlights, just some things that I just want on your radar that might not be on your radar normally. First and foremost, I just want, and I know you guys already know this, but Derek really has been a huge reason why Timpview was able to occupy their space this week. Just the amount of time that he spends on the phone trying to work through issues and work with his team. He's developed a really good relationship with Principal Tua. And just your entire team, Derek, just over and over again, we've just heard a lot of positive comments and feedback, and people are really happy. And so just want to make everyone aware of that. Another piece that I thought was awesome was Principal Tua reached out because she wanted to help the students be able to figure out where they were going in the new part of the building. And so she was working with Assistant Superintendent Jensen, and we got members of cabinet to be up there every single day, either driving shuttles or helping with, directing traffic, because there's new traffic patterns, in case you didn't know, like where you could go before, now you can't go, and now there's new signs, and I thought I had it all figured out, now I don't have it all figured out, and we got new one-ways and all sorts of things. And so I was just really pleased to see how quickly everyone jumped on that and wanted to help out and was willing to support us in that process. And I just think that's really important. Also, huge thanks to Doug Finch, who is our Assistant Superintendent over Student Services, and Assistant Superintendent Jensen, who led our leadership training last Thursday with our principals on investigations and helping with discrimination. And it was just really well done, and I thought they did a good job of kind of giving principals some real world experiences and making sure we're all on the same page as we're dealing with student behavior. And then just kind of a really fun thing that happened, Michelle Eldridge, who is over our Title I, she and I went and visited LIA at Dixon that was going over to Franklin Elementary to tutor, and she was watching how the kids were interacting, and she just had all of a sudden this great epiphany about how to make that instructional time more effective, because they were just reading aloud. And so she helped work with the teachers to create some really specific lessons so that not only could the LAA students feel really successful in how they were working and interacting with those students and feel like they were really making a difference, but it also meant that that 30 minutes of time was really dedicated to some really important instruction at Franklin Elementary. And then last but not least, we're excited to have Lance Vandermark going to Franklin Elementary, and just a great shout out to Jared Seitz for really coordinating all of those efforts and setting up those interviews and making that happen. And we all need to bring Chris Chilcote cookies because he's really worried about losing his Title I coordinator. So just a lot of really great things, a lot of people stepping up and doing the right thing and moving our district in the right direction. So.
Okay, thank you so much. That has brought us to the end of our meeting today, and so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn the business meeting.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much.